Well, good morning, everyone out there in Fedora Nation. Happy Sunday, or as it's known around the world, Happy Tommy Stevens Day. And sometimes it's referred to as St. Patrick's, but that's neither here nor there. The fact that they had to create an Irish holiday to celebrate my uncle's birthday is ridiculous. But, you know, it's the Irish. What are you going to do? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. This fine gentleman over here is Reuben Christopher Haynes. How you doing, sir?
Very, thank you. Very good.
Very good. All right. Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy. You better watch your ass. Anyway, we are here, to cover Donald Trump's interview with Fox News' Howard Kurtz. We are on YouTube. We are on Rumble. We are on Twitter. So if you haven't done it yet, please send out your tweets, your Gettrs, your Gabs, your Truth Socials, your Facebooks, whatever you got to do. But let's get a big crowd of people in here. Let's have some fun watching this interview. A lot has happened since the last time Reuben and I got together. I think it was Super Tuesday. Yep. It is now official. Trump and Biden have secured their respective parties' nominations for the presidency. And now Trump gets to turn his attentions to Biden and vice versa. And that is, in part, the interview this morning on Fox News. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Howard Kurtz, he is a longtime veteran of the journalistic community. Most people might remember him from his days from CNN. He had a show over there, which was a criticism of media in general. He's done the same thing on Fox News. He's got a show he hosts called Media Buzz, where he analyzes coverage of the mainstream media of events going on in the world, which, okay, I think it serves a useful function. If out of that comes maybe some, how shall I say, if out of it comes reform of how the mainstream media covers the news, but at this point, if that's the standard, I don't think Howard's been all that successful, but, you know, bless his heart, He keeps trying. Anyway, while we're waiting for the interview to start, I thought, Reuben and I could take a couple of moments and review some items as far as where the race is at. The interview will start officially at 11 a.m., so we've got a few minutes. Now, if you've been with us before, you kind of know how these go. But for those of you who haven't, when the interview is going on, Reuben and I will be off to the side listening, jotting down some notes, putting together some things. When they go to commercial, we'll come back in and give our thoughts on what's going on. And then, when they come back from the commercial, we go straight back to it. So by way of where the race stands right now, this is the average of polls from Real Clear Politics. And remarkably, Trump has a almost 2-point lead. Now, I say remarkably on the grounds that if you think back to 2016 and 2020, Trump never held a lead in the Real Clear Politics average of polls. Now, this is head-to-head Trump versus Biden, but as everyone is fully aware, this is not just going to be a head-to-head race depending on what state you're talking about. And that takes us to the second set of charts. This is general election nationwide, Trump, Biden, Kennedy, Cornel West, and Jill Stein. Trump has an even bigger lead. So as you might imagine, this is setting off some panic inside the Democratic Party, which leads to this. From NBC News, Democrats are prepared to go to war against third-party candidates. The DNC is building a first team to counter third-party candidates with outside groups to stockpile money for a wider campaign. I'm not surprised by that, because if you're in the Democrats' position, you're going to have to do this. To improve Biden's chances, you have got to be willing to take some of these people off the ballot. So, Reuben, I'll throw it to you for your thoughts.
What about democracy? What about the right people to choose? This is very disingenuous.
Again, the Democrats are all for the right to choose, as long as you choose the right person, which in their minds, Joe Biden. So, I mean, they don't have a problem with it.
And I historically don't have a problem with third-party candidates, because I voted for Perot twice. Because again, I am a conservative, but I say it's a philosophy. I am conservative. I don't expect anybody else to be. And this is just, again, par for the course for what the Democrats do, what they did in 2020, what they are doing now in 2024 and 2022 as well. They basically tried to control everything. And that's why I warned people back in the 2000 election when Bush won. legitimately, because that was proven over and over again. The Democrats vowed that they are going, because they made a mockery of Catherine Harris in Florida. And what they vowed is that they would control every Secretary of State in every state of the union. Yep. And that's par for the course, because you remember what happened with Arizona. Katie Hobbs, Secretary of State, certifying her own election, did not quit. And the press is very disingenuous now. Going back to Howard Kurtz, his show on CNN, ironically, was called Reliable Sources, which was a joke. And that's the whole point. The whole point is that we have no press anymore. And they are going to start stymieing people. They're already doing it on X, where they are basically censoring people. And YouTube's doing it through Google. Because remember, with the Google, YouTube is Google. Remember that. Yep. And Facebook is Meta, which is Instagram too. And they're doing that. So then again, their result is what they're doing. And then again, they have the Republicans to help as well, because it's uniparty. Yeah. The whole ban of TikTok is dangerous. It is not good for what we believe in. Again, a company can do what they want. I don't care if China owns them. I don't care. It's an app. If you don't want it, don't use it. It's always been like that. But again, the whole idea for your protection is insane. And every single time it's doing it, and there's to be an easy backlash on that to stop that stuff. So then, no, I'm just sick and tired of what the Democrats are doing. Let Kennedy run. Let Cornel West run. Let Jill Stein run. They've done it before in the past. Jill Stein was on the ballot a couple times. The Green Party has enough right, on to St. Patrick's Day, of course, to be on the ballot.
I Vergara, you're right.
Exactly. And I haven't had anything to drink yet.
And no, this is not a Long Island. So
it's hard whiskey. Just kidding.
Yeah, really.
Especially for this. Well, no.
You know. And by the way, Gypsy, I want you to know.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I was out at 9:00 last night trying to find this undersized fedora of a hat. And by the by, did y'all notice this year that they're not putting out that much St. Patty's Day stuff? I went to a store at the mall, my local mall, and I said, and I know it was like the day before. I get it. But it's like, and they said, yeah, we didn't get that much St. Patty's Day stuff. So I hopped up the road to Walmart and found this. But I just want you to know, I love you guys enough that I am committed. If you ask of me a green hat, I will do it for St. Patty's Day. But anyway, we're basically, the interview starts at 11 a.m. And like I said, if you've been here for any of these that Ruben and I have done over the years, geez, can you believe it's been that long? It feels like it with this campaign. If you've been here for these things that Ruben and I have done the past few months, you will know that we will, have a little bit of pregame, which is what this is right now. We got about 7 minutes to go till the interview starts, and we've got a very nice crowd so far on Rumble and on YouTube, and I'm glad you guys are here. The interview will start 11 a.m. And like I said, while the interview is going on, Ruben and I will be off to the side, jotting down some notes, comments that are made, questions that are asked, observations we've made, thoughts we have. When the commercial comes up, we'll come back in, and then we'll go back to it. We want you guys to be as interactive in this process as you possibly can be. And, we are thankful you guys are here. We like doing this kind of stuff. If you're not subscribed to Ruben's channel, please give him a sub. You see the crawler across the bottom of the screen for both of our channels. And give it a second and you'll get to here we go. Please subscribe to Ruben's channel at YouTube at Ruben Haynes. Okay, there it is, folks.
Oh, there it is.
Give him the sub. Give him the sub. If you're not subscribed to my channels on YouTube and Rumble, please, okay, here it comes. Please subscribe to my YouTube and Rumble channel. Just search for the Front Porch Conservative on both platforms and you'll find me. Okay, there we go. All right. Anyway, yeah, let's get some comments in. Mike says third party candidates will, and you might be right. Now, I'll agree with that in Pennsylvania. But the other thing is, and I'm not saying you're wrong, it depends on where RFK is on the ballot. Pennsylvania may hurt him. Wisconsin may hurt him, but it sort of also depends too on the performance of Joe Biden in these elections, and that's another fascinating angle that I think is interesting in this. Joe Biden cannot secure the base of his party. He can't. Yeah, and yeah, that's true too. That is true too. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Joe Biden cannot support the base of his party. And that to me is fascinating going forward. Now he's got the nomination. That's done. You knew that was going to happen. But, I just think it's going to be really interesting going forward, especially in the upcoming primaries. Ohio, I'm trying to remember who's on the ballot, who's up on Tuesday. But you're going to have states coming up this week. Ohio and a handful. Illinois is going to be another one to keep an eye on to see what kind of vote Joe Biden gets. Now, in Illinois, it may not make a difference because Chicago is so heavily Democratic. But if he's getting any kind of protest vote anywhere, I got a feeling it's going to show up in Illinois more than anywhere else this week. What do you think?
I think the same thing. And going back to the whole idea that RFK will hurt Trump, it doesn't really matter to me. Because, again, RFK has every right to be on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
And if people vote for RFK, so be it. It's their right. I'm always in the again. It's so weird the fact that it's going to hurt Trump. I don't care. I'd rather be the vote be honorable, because I remember when Anderson when in 1980 when he was first on the ballot, I was going, what's going on here? So I researched. So now, like I said, I voted for Perot twice. And because again, I'm not a party person. It's like I never understood that aspect that it has to come down to two choices. Never two choices.
Yeah,
you do what you want to do. Even even in 2016, I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. I did not. I went third party too. So again, my history is it's my vote, and I don't like what's going on in the world right now in our republic.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to what I said before, the Democrats, democracy, when you're trying to throw people off ballots, it's insane. So yeah, let Biden, let Cornel West, let Jill Stein go on there. They have just these parties are legit, or these people have a legitimate claim to run for president. Let them run.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're basically a couple of minutes away from the start of Howard Kurtz's interview of former President Donald Trump. My name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. This is Ruben Christopher Haynes. We are going to be live stream covering the interview between Kurtz and Trump. And Ruben, it looks like you have picked up a sub, my good friend. Check this action out. Yay! So there you go. But we'll see what happens with this. And and Mike, I'm hearing everything you're laying down, man. This is going to be a fascinating election on so many levels. It really will. We'll see what happens. So like I say, we're just basically waiting for the interview to start. I'm keeping an eye on it over here. And if you're not subscribed to Ruben's channel, please give him a sub. If you're not subscribed to mine, please give me a sub. And we're just basically waiting for the interview to start. It's scheduled at 11 a.m. So as soon as it comes up, Ruben and I will drop off to the side. We'll let you guys hear this in its entirety. We'll do our best not to interrupt. And when the commercial break comes back up, we'll pop back in, give you our thoughts on what we've heard, so on and so forth. And we've had a lot of fun doing these, and I always I always try to find these opportunities, particularly when it's a confined amount of time in which they take place. I mean, I don't mind doing live streams of a Trump rally, but the only problem is you don't exactly know when Trump's going to hit the stage. And, bless my heart, I can talk your leg off, but I know you're not always coming to hear what I've got to say. You're coming to hear Donald Trump, and I like to be able to give you that in a timely manner. So, so you guys can move on with your lives and do the things you got to do, etc. So, but these that are done on Fox News or Newsmax or CNN, wherever, if I find out about them in advance and I can put something together, I'll be glad to do this for you guys, because I think these are good. I really do. Granted, it's an interview. Kurtz has his agenda. Trump has his agenda, but it still gives people the opportunity to hear what somebody's thinking about the issues. So, like I say, we're just waiting for this thing to come out of the break, and just as soon as it does, we'll get this party started. And it looks like... Okay, looks like they're coming out of the break. Let me make sure. Yep, here we go. So, folks, we're going to step off to the side and get this party started.
All right.
Conversation with Donald Trump that lasted nearly an hour. And I began by asking the former president about the press. Mr. President, welcome, and congratulations on officially clinching the Republican nomination.
Thank you very much.
So, after Super Tuesday, you said this: the press has not been fair, nor has it been free. But maybe someday they will be. They're being beaten up pretty badly. That's pretty mild by your standards, and you certainly take your jabs, but you talk less about fake news these days. Could you be looking for a ceasefire?
Well, I'd love to get along with them, and I'd love that they were straight down the middle and, covering the stories that should be covered. You know that. You're with a group that does cover a lot of things that they don't cover, like the border. The border, they're just starting to do it now because it's destroying our country. At some point. Yeah. At some point, you're going to have to do it.
Right.
And but you've been covering it for a long time. Your show has been covering it for a long time. They're now just picking it up. They should have picked it up 2 years ago, 3 years ago. The border is a horror show, and so many other things they don't. It's not only what they report; it's what they don't report. Mm-hmm. They don't report certain things that are so big. I expect to look and see the CBS Evening News or NBC or ABC, and I turn on and they have nothing about very important subjects, and that's fake news also in its own way.
Would you be willing at this point to stop calling national news organizations the enemy of the people?
Well, I have that a lot. I get a lot of people, they don't say fake news. They don't mind that as much. They really don't like enemy of the people. I would be honored to do that if they would do it right. If they would, they're like the policeman or policewoman. They're like the police. And frankly, they keep our country honest in a certain way if they do their job properly. And they haven't been doing it properly. And you report on that, Howard. You know that. Yeah. You know exactly what's going on. And sometimes I don't know why. Why would they want to have open borders where a lot of bad people come in from prisons? You look at it now and look at what's happening with the new group coming in from Haiti. They're just pouring in by the thousands and thousands. And how much can one country handle? It's not sustainable.
It's a mess. But let me touch on this. Everybody's entitled to whack the media. After the Iowa caucuses, two networks didn't carry your speech. I was very critical at the time. But you said CNN and NBC should have their licenses or whatever they have, take it away. Sounded like you were threatening to go after television outlets that was the reporting you don't like.
Well, I think it's incredible. Some of them use the airwaves and some of them don't. Certain cable, I guess it's a little bit different. License, yeah. But when you're using public airwaves and you cover a candidate for months, you cover them as negatively as possible, or her, could be her. And all of a sudden that candidate wins in a landslide and it's very exciting and everybody wants to watch, and you don't cover his speech. It's incredible. And I guess it was Fake Tapper or somebody turned it off. He said, turn it off. I think actually MSNBC did do it, MSDNC, but they did do it. But I think it was CNN that didn't cover it. Jake Tapper, who I used to know, I used to actually sort of like him actually, but he hurts himself very badly when it does a thing like that. And he hurts the ratings too. You look at CNN ratings, they're so bad. So you cover though, think of it. You're covering somebody for a year. And this is the culmination. This is the big moment and people want to watch it. And you say, I'm not going to put a speech on. How can you do that?
Well, my view is say what you want afterwards. You want to be critical, fine. But
you can do that, absolutely.
Let me move along. You said that the sudden death of Alexei Navalny in a Siberian prison camp was horrible and that he was very brave, and there's no question about that. And you said that you're going through a form of Navalny. But here's the thing. The media, as you know, blame Putin. Joe Biden blames Putin. Much of the civilized world blames Putin. Do you believe Vladimir Putin has some responsibility for the death of Alexei Navalny?
I don't know, but perhaps, possibly, I could say probably. I don't know. He's a young man, so statistically, he'd be alive for a long time, right? If you go by the insurance numbers, he'd be alive for another 40 years. So something happened that was unusual.
Well, obviously, he survived a poisoning attempt
Yeah,
by
he
the
did.
Kremlin
He
and
did.
barely lived, went back, got jailed, and then suddenly he keels over. They don't release the body. I mean, how could anything like that happen without Putin and high-ranking Kremlin officials sanctioning it?
Well, I don't know. You certainly can't say for sure, but certainly that would look like something very bad happened, right?
I think we can agree on that.
I think so.
You like to say that if you were president, Russia would not have invaded Ukraine.
Yeah.
But since Russia did invade a sovereign country and frequently targets civilians, and I know that many people in this country care more about our southern border than Ukraine, but given the bravery of the Ukrainian people, why do you seem to me, at least, to be so lukewarm on aid to the Ukrainians who are running out of ammunition and are in pretty desperate straits?
Well, it's a war, I guess I feel very hurt because that's a war that should have never happened. And when I see what is happening, it's such a disaster. And, you're talking about a very unfair war. But Russia's a very big military power, and they're sort of proving that with time. And I agree that the Ukrainians have been very brave, but this is something that should have been negotiated. I would have negotiated a deal. I don't even know if I would have had to negotiate. They never would have attacked while I was president. The oil prices were low. We were at $40 a barrel. Went to $100 a barrel. At $100 a barrel, Putin makes a fortune. He made a fortune on this war. At $40, he wouldn't have started the war. Just like if you look at Iran, Iran was broke. They would have never given money to Hamas or Hezbollah. Therefore, Israel wouldn't have been attacked, and they wouldn't have been attacked for other reasons too.
So if it was next January 20th,
Yeah.
and you were sworn in,
Yeah.
would you be willing to see Putin swallow part or all of Ukraine? Or would you provide military aid?
I hope that it doesn't come to that.
Mhm.
That's a long time. We're talking about you're talking about 9 months in that case, right? 7 months, a little more than 7 months for the election itself. That's an eternity in
Sure.
terms of war and in terms of politics and in terms of the world. If we had a real leader, he would have never done that. Remember, he didn't do it. For 4 years, he didn't do it. And there was no real threat that he'd do it. And I spoke to him about it. I said, you can't do it. You can't do it. It was the apple of his eye. I got to know him very well. I had a good relationship with him. It was the apple of his eye. But he would never have done it if I was president. And all those people would be living in all those great cities. Those ancient domes,
Yeah.
you can't replace that. You can't. Golden domes, they were beautiful. They were 1,000 years old. You can't replace that culture. But most importantly, the hundreds of thousands of people are dead now that would be alive. With that being said, it is what it is. It's a terrible situation. I largely blame Biden because there was no reason for this. If you look at him rhetorically, it's hard to say rhetorically, but rhetorically, if you look at Biden, what he said at the time, he's saying the exact opposite of what he should be. He was almost leading Putin into going into Ukraine. I said, he's saying the wrong things. And I mean, you'd have to go back and study it, but you have to know your opponent or your enemy
adversary, yeah.
or your friend. Frankly, you have to know people.
I would say Putin
And he
bears
did
the
not-
ultimate responsibility.
Of course he does, but it could have been stopped very easily. It never would have happened. And again, Israel would have never been attacked. They had no money. Iran had no money. They were broke.
When you talk about illegal migrants, and it's a huge crisis at the border, and after 3 years, obviously the Democrats bear the primary responsibility. Why do you use words like vermin and poisoning of the blood? The press, as you know, immediately reacts to that by saying, well, that's the kind of language that Hitler and Mussolini used.
Well, that's what they say. I didn't know that, but that's what they say. Because our country is being poisoned. Look, we can be nice about it. We can talk about, I want to be politically correct, but we have people coming in from prisons and jails, long-term murderers, people with sentences that the rest of their lives they're going to spend in some jail in some country that many people have never even heard of. They're all being released into our country. These are murderers. These are people at the highest level of crime. And then you have mental institutions and insane asylums. I always said the difference is one is Silence of the Lamb. It's a mental institution on steroids, okay? And those mental institutions and insane asylums are being emptied out into the United States. And then you have terrorists pouring in at levels that we have never seen before. This is a horrible thing. Only bad is going to come of it. A friend of yours, Sean Hannity, said, it's 100% certain that there'll be big problems here very soon. He means an attack.
I know there's a lot of concern
and he
about
does
that.
say that, and I say, you happen to be right.
But here's my theory, that you use over the top, sometimes inflammatory language, because that drives the media debate. Did Trump go too far? And then you get the next several news cycles talking about your issue and, whether your language was too much or wasn't enough. Any thought that I might be right on that?
It also gets people thinking about very important issues, that if you don't use certain rhetoric, if you don't use certain words that maybe are not very nice words, nothing will happen. That did stir debate, but it happens to be true. When you have hundreds of thousands of people from jails all over the world, I'm not just talking about South America. They come from the Congo. They come from all different parts of Africa. They come from Asia, all over. They come from Europe. They come from the Middle East. They're coming from all over the place. Equal opportunity. We're like an equal opportunity employer. They're coming in at numbers that we've never seen before. They're coming in at numbers that no country has ever seen before. It's not sustainable. And in many cases, they're not good people. And you have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. We had crime. We have violent crime. You're going to have now migrant crime, which is going to be super violent. And it's going to be as bad. It's going to it's going to be the same. It's going to double up your crime. Everything I've said has been right. It's going to double up your crime. We have millions of people coming into our country that shouldn't be here.
Well, that's why it's a big issue, including among Democrats. But now, speaking of language.
You have friends in New York, a lot of them. So do I. And I have friends in Chicago. I have friends all over the place, right? I haven't had one person say that what's happening to their cities is acceptable.
Right. You whipped up a global story twice by saying that you would not protect NATO countries that don't contribute their fair share of the defense burden. And then you said, if they don't, you would encourage the Russians to do whatever the hell they want to do to these countries. That sounds like a pro-Putin stance, or is it a negotiating stance?
No, it sounds like somebody that wants to get people to pay money. So when I was president, first year, I went to a NATO summit and I noticed something, because I'm very good with numbers. And I looked and I said, you have 20 of the 28 countries that haven't paid, or they paid far less than they're supposed to. What's that all about? The United States, in the meantime, was paying much more than they were supposed to. We were making up the difference, a massive amount. We were almost paying for the whole thing, if you want to really know the truth. We were paying for close to 100%. So they take advantage of us on trade. The European countries, I love them. I somehow have a little heritage there. We have a little soft spot, right?
Yeah.
But the European nations, if you add them up, they have the same size economy essentially as the United States. You add them all up and they're
together,
about the same. Yet we're $100 billion more to Ukraine than they are. When I said that, and when I made that statement, I want to energize them to pay. They have to pay. It's not fair. Did you know that this statement was made 3 weeks ago that I made, that you said? Do you know that since then, countries that were late on their payments or not paying at all have paid up? They said, oh man, look at this, we better start paying. They took in a lot of money.
So you're going to take credit for that.
So I will take, I have to take credit for it. Now, if I said it in a different way, it would have been a nicer statement, but it would not have been effective.
Understood.
Say that President Biden bears responsibility for Russia's brutal invasion of Ukraine, downplays the fact that Vladimir Putin is trying to restore parts of the old Soviet empire and may not stop there. When we come back, Donald Trump makes some news on the abortion question.
Okay, we're going to step out for the commercial break. My name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. I'm joined by my good buddy, Ruben Christopher Haynes. Okay, Ruben, I'm going to throw it to you first. What do you think, and what'd you hear?
Okay, so when reporting on Trump, basically CNN, NBC have censored Trump, and he's right in the fact that he's bringing it up the fact that they're doing this, and he's saying this, that he wants to pull the licenses away. Again, it's his way of starting the debate and conversation. When it comes to Natalny, I don't think that Putin did anything, but again, they're touting this as, the idea that Putin jailed his rivals. But again, Biden wants to do the same. Regarding the Ukraine, the invasion, again, NATO is involved in that because, again, NATO wants to have that buffer, and Russia doesn't want that buffer. They want to basically stay there. So then NATO is the problem there. When it comes to the immigrants, using words like vermin and setting their worst, he's done this all his life. Because again, you cannot state anything wrong that Trump is bringing up a critical aspect, as we have our cities, sanctuary cities are going bad down. New York, L.A., all of this. You see the pictures, that all the stuff, what they're doing. When it comes to Trump's language, again, that's the whole idea. He says he's sound bites. They use it against him, but then Trump is smart enough to then to counter them out there, and he gets this completed. When it comes to NATO and money, yes, it's definitely true. Because remember, the reserve currency for oil and for the military industrial complex is dollars. So then we are paying. It's not American first policy. It is a globalist policy, and Trump wants to stop it. We have to be America first. So that's basically it. So that's the six talking points that I have here right now. But that's the whole idea, and that circles back all the way to the first aspect. You have CNN, NBC censoring him. And it has to be stopped. The free press is very important, and that's why they're no longer reporting the news. They're propaganda for the Democratic Party.
Absolutely. And before I get my thoughts, my name is Brian Trippett again, the Front Porch Conservative. This is Ruben Haynes. If you're not subscribed to our channels, please do me a favor and give a sub to Ruben. You can find him on @YouTube /Ruben Haynes. Just type in the Front Porch Conservative on YouTube and Rumble. You'll find my channels and give me a sub. Now, if an interview between a member of the press and a politician is the equivalent of fencing, then you're watching two expert fencers go at it here. Just some thematic observations. Howard Kurtz is, in my mind, giving probably one of the fairest interviews to Trump I've heard. And by fair, I mean he's asking him tough questions, but he's doing it respectfully. I mean, Kurtz is not backing off here. That's one thing I like about him. I don't always get the chance to watch a Howard Kurtz interview, but he does a magnificent job. He's going right at Trump. Trump, for his part, is answering with what he wants to answer. Okay, they're coming back in. Here we go.
Demise of Roe v. Wade. I asked Donald Trump about his approach.
Now, a New York Times piece by Maggie Haberman and others says that you have discussed with your advisors having a ban, the possibility of a ban on abortion after 16 weeks, plus the 3 exceptions that I know are important to you: rape, incest, life of the mother.
Right, very important.
I don't know if it's possible to make both sides happy in this debate because people have such strong moral feelings, but you were quoted as saying to one of your aides, well, I like 16 weeks because it's a nice round number, 4 months. Do you think that could be politically acceptable?
So we're going to find out, and pretty soon I'm going to be making a decision. And I would like to see if we could do that at all, Howie. I would like to see if we could make both sides happy. Look, a lot of things were done with Roe by killing it. Number one, we brought it back to the states.
Of course, your justices to the Supreme Court have made that possible.
They did.
Yeah.
And you know, they did something that from a lot of standpoints is extremely good. Number one, the Democrats are the radicals on this issue because it's okay to have an abortion in 7, 8, 9 months, and even after birth, according to that.
Well, I know that's
and I will say this.
I know that's
if you speak about the subject right, we actually have, it's like fertilization. On fertilization, you saw I took the lead on that, and it's actually now our subject. It's a positive. We want to help women. And that could have been a very negative thing. We want to help women. With Roe, you take a look at what was going on. Abortions in the 7th, 8th, and 9th month. One thing that you say is nobody wants that. Killing of a baby after the baby's born. That was the governor, the ex-governor, last governor, prior to this one, by the way. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
The last governor of Virginia, he said you put the baby aside and you discuss with the mother whether or not essentially you want to kill the baby. They are the radicals. There's a certain spot. If you look at France, if you look at different places in Europe, if you look at a lot of the civilized world, they have a period of time. But you can't go out 7 months and 8 months and 9 months. And if the Republicans spoke about it correctly, it never hurt me from the standpoint of elections. It hurt a lot of Republicans. I think you have to have the 3 exceptions because it's just, now there are a few places where you don't. But I tell people, number one, you have to go with your heart. You have to go with your heart. But beyond that, you also have to get elected, okay? And if you don't have the 3 exceptions, I think it's very, very hard to get elected. We had a gentleman from Pennsylvania who was doing pretty well. He refused to go with the exceptions, and he lost in a landslide for governor. Nice man, lost in a landslide. You have to go with the exceptions. And the number of weeks, I'll be coming out with a recommendation fairly soon. I think the recommendation will be accepted.
Now, I follow everything you say because that's part of the job.
Good.
And in this campaign, you've talked about payback. In your Waco speech last year, you said that for those who've been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. But you've been softening that lately. You talked to Brett Baer and Martha McCallum. You said, I'm not going to have time for retribution. But
well, I said success will be my retribution.
that's right. But for the press and people who aren't fans of yours, they feel like, well, you've sent the message. The second term is going to be different, that you're not going to be restrained by some of the people you had in your first term. So which is it?
Oh, I'm going to just make it very successful. My greatest retribution, or as you would also say, revenge. My revenge will be success for our country. I'm conservative. People say you're conservative, but really what I am is a person with common sense. I want borders. I want fair elections, free elections. I want to have a free press. I would cherish the press if they were free. Not that I want good stories, because probably won't get them anyway. But
well, nobody gets all good stories.
They should be free and fair. You're very free and fair. I've seen you cover different angles of stories from very different viewpoints, and it's pretty damn good. But we need a great press because that keeps people honest.
On late-term abortions, former Virginia Governor Ralph Northam did say that in cases of severe deformity or a non-viable fetus, the mother and doctors would decide what to do once the baby was born, but later backed off with a spokesperson saying he was not talking about killing babies, but extremely rare and tragic cases. A CDC survey says fewer than 1% of all abortions take place at or after 7 months of pregnancy. Up next, why the former president changed his stance on banning TikTok.
Okay, they're heading into the commercial break. We'll bring it back to Ruben and I. If you're just joining us, my name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. I'm joined by my good buddy Ruben Christopher Haynes. I want to go back to the first segment. I thought, Ruben, you covered everything pretty well. Like I said, Kurtz is giving a good interview. He's always asking tough questions. He's bringing the heat, but he's doing it in as respectful a way as possible. Now, as far as this segment, I'm going to be because Trump just dropped a piece of news on the abortion question. I'm going to be very interested to see where he goes with this in the coming weeks. So, and I can if you stop and think about it, he's actually giving advice to candidates. Now, you can agree with it or disagree with it. That's fine. But he's got a valid point. If you don't get elected, you can have all the policy positions and be right on them all you want to. But if you're not going to get elected, what good does it do you? Now, he's not saying, for the record, neither am I, compromise what you believe. But there are ways of communicating things, and there are ways of communicating things. So I thought that was interesting. Beyond that, I do want to see what kind of answer he gives on TikTok, because Kurtz is right. Trump has reversed his position on this. So, Ruben, I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, basically the whole idea of Roe v. Wade. He wanted the Supreme Court. He did put the justices that got it over to change it back. But the idea that coming of a policy to get it at 16 weeks, 4 months. In Europe, it's less than that. It's actually 12 in some countries. But the idea, that's the dangerous part that can cause people to lose elections, like Pennsylvania did. Having it a late term federal thing, 7 to 8, 9, like he was leading for, that I can agree with, because again, and Kurtz is right, less than 1%. But again, that 1% I don't want any child that's viable at 7 to 8, 9 months to be aborted. That's insane. But again, it's a personal choice, and again, the medical procedures are out there, so that's there. When it comes to retribution, it's again retribution, revenge. He is correct. He has to tout his language, and he's been doing that now ever since he got secured the nomination, where he's saying success. We're going to do this, and again, he is the people's candidate in that regard. Let Biden be vicious, say these things. Let the media clip Trump, but let Trump go out there and say, I'm the people's candidate. I'm doing this for the people. That's what's important. So that's what I'm saying. But this is really good.
No, I agree with you. This is never did I ever think I'd ever see the day when it would finally flip around, where the Democrat would be seen as the angry extremist and the Republican would be seen as the reasonable person. And if Trump plays his cards right, that's exactly what he could get out of this election. So, okay, they're coming back in, and here we go.
popular TikTok app in just a moment. But first, Donald Trump's hotly debated comments about the Constitution.
I don't want to relitigate your accusations about the 2020 election, but a while back you wrote on Truth Social, a massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. That was pretty chilling for people who kind of sort of like the Constitution.
Well, no, all I'm saying is an election has to be constitutional. I'm not saying void the Constitution or anything like that, but they're the ones that are violating the Constitution. I'm not violating. I'm saying when they cheat on an election, you may not be able to say this because you're at Fox, but some people do say it, and many people agree with it.
Mostly Republicans. I mean, it's become a very partisan
I guess so, but the Democrats believe it too, but they don't want to say it. I mean, they believe it too. You just have to look at the numbers. But without getting at that, look, we have to have free elections. They have to be fair. And people have to know that they're free. They have to know that they're fair. And you have to have borders. You have to have borders. You have to have great elections, free elections, fair elections, no cheating, no ballot drops, no anything. It has to be basic voter ID. It's actually insulting to a person to say you can't get an ID pass. If you look at the Democrat convention last time, Democrat National Convention, they had ID cards that were so big. They were big. They covered somebody's entire chest, no matter how big it was. It was like they had pictures from 3 different angles. They had ID, and you have ID for a lot of things. You know, credit cards have ID. A lot of things. You buy products, you have ID. The only thing they don't want ID for is voting.
Right.
And that's because they want to cheat. We can't let that happen.
I want to touch on TikTok. As you know, the House voted the other day overwhelmingly to ban TikTok unless the company, the Chinese owner, would sell it off. 197 Republicans. Now, when you were president, you tried to ban TikTok. The courts stepped in. You now say you don't think it should be banned because you think Facebook is worse and this would benefit Facebook. But doesn't that let TikTok off the hook? Because most parties, the consensus in both parties is that this is a threat to national security, having it owned by a company that's, of course, influenced by the Chinese Communist Party.
Well, I know a lot about TikTok, and I gave the option of banning it, and I had it pretty much done. And I said, I didn't do any jawboning. I didn't do anything. I just said, you guys want it banned if you want. And Congress probably didn't want it banned, et cetera. It wasn't something that I was demanding. If I demanded, I think I would have gotten it. But there's a danger to banning it with, freedom of speech is many different problems.
Extremely popular.
But here's what I did find. I found Facebook to be extremely dishonest. And what would happen is if you ban TikTok, if you take it away, and we have a new concept, but if you take it away, those people are going to go into Facebook. And Facebook, in my opinion, was worse than TikTok by a lot.
So this had nothing to do with your meeting with a billionaire who happens to have a 15% stake in the parent company, ByteDance?
Actually, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that. No, he's the head of a club. In fact, a club that I would say that I, generally speaking, don't get along with, but now I do. And I've had my good moments and bad moments. I used to call it Club for No Growth. Now I call it Club for Growth again.
It changed.
But no, I never spoke to him about that. What I would like to see is if you're going to do it to TikTok, do it to Facebook. And what you can do is let them sell TikTok. Let them sell it in the market. Maybe get a good price, maybe not get a good price. I don't know. But take it away from China control. But I think China controls Facebook also because they have tremendous power in that company. There's no question about that. They want to be in China. They want to go to China. They want to, whatever it is.
But it is an American company.
Yeah, but they have plenty of power in there too.
In your first campaign, I remember you telling me, and this was at a time when the deficit hawks just ruled the Republican Party, that you wouldn't touch Social Security and Medicare because out of fairness, people had paid into it. Now, the other day you were on CNBC, you said there's a lot you can do in terms of entitlement, in terms of cutting, and also bad management that got left out. Do you want to clarify that?
Yeah, but not those entitlements. What we want to do is you'll never touch Social Security as long as I'm around, and you'll never touch Medicare. And you have other people,
eventually
including
touch it because they're going to be insolvent.
No, but you can also do other things. We have liquid gold in the ground that we don't touch. We have value and things that we could be doing to make a fortune in this country. We can put a ring around the collar, as I say. They used to have a commercial, ring around the collar. We can put a ring around our country where when people come in and they want to take our jobs, steal our jobs and, sell us products and we can't sell them products like in European Union, like in China, like in a lot of other places, we can't sell them cars, but they sell us cars. We put a tariff around our country of 15%, and you want to see numbers come in big. It's not enough to affect them that much, but it's massive amounts of money for our country. And I want to do that. I want to do that big.
On Beijing's supposed influence over Facebook, it's worth emphasizing the social network isn't allowed to operate in China. As a voter ID, some Democratic lawmakers do support a photo identification card, but there are disputes about requiring other supporting documents. But Democrats such as John Fetterman oppose voter ID as making it harder for minorities to cast ballots. Next on Media Buzz, how serious is Donald Trump about debating President Biden?
Okay, they're headed for the commercial. Well, we're headed for the microphones. My name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. I'm joined by my good buddy, Ruben Christopher Haynes. Ruben, I'll throw it over to you.
So 2020 election, again, we know what really happened. And then the thing is that we have to have these elections that are free and secure. 2020 was a sham. And the idea that you can get, to operate in life, you need an ID. And the Department of Justice, Merrick Garland, went to in front of a black church and said that we are going to make efforts to not to have voter ID because it's racist. No, you're being racist. To say that black people can't get ID is racist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Completely. When it comes to Facebook and Meta, TikTok, the idea, TikTok, again, I said it before, I'll say it again. The people have a right to use what they want to use, and Trump is right. Facebook is works. Meta and Google. Meta is Instagram and Facebook. The algorithms they use are censorship. So the problem is not who owns it. The problem is what they are doing. And TikTok, again, has influence, but again, the influence is also in America influence. CIA, NSA are doing things there. Democratic Party's doing things together. Because again, the TikTok presence for the DNC is very, very heavy, and they're doing that. And they actually censor. When I was doing something, they censored my stuff like they did with Google. So it's a censorship is there. When it comes to Social Security, again, I think it's a sham. It's a Ponzi scheme. But again, the idea that you want to protect Social Security, people who have paid in, I prefer I got the money out. If I had now, I want my money back and all that stuff. So then we'll do it there. But it's protecting Medicaid, protecting America's first. And that leads into the idea that Trump's tariffs. Yes. I don't want to buy, and the way that happened back in, it was in 90 with Clinton, and Perot, the whole sucking sound, NAFTA, products are now being made in China, products being made out of country. And Trump is right. If you want to bring back the manufacturing here, it'll bring back America first. I have my computers. Every computer people you have out there is built in China or Taiwan. I purposely got computers and computer parts that are American. And I'm doing that now. I'm buying American only. Where I can do that, and that's the most important thing. So buy American. That's the whole idea. Tariffs are not a bad thing, and we have to do American born stuff more. That's what I'm saying.
All right, absolutely. And if you're not subscribed to Ruben's channel, give him a sub. If you're not subscribed to my channels on YouTube and Rumble, give me a sub. I thought the question about TikTok was good. I love the way Kurtz came back with, so the meeting with the millionaire who owns TikTok didn't change your mind at all, did it? I'm sorry. Okay, they're back in. Here we go.
I asked the former president if that's going to change.
You have said you want to debate Joe Biden anytime, any place.
I'll even debate him in your show.
Well, I'll be happy to host it.
I'll do it anytime, any place.
But surely it occurred to you that some people might say, isn't this the guy who didn't participate in any of the Republican primary
Of course
debates?
not. I was leading by 75 points.
Yeah.
Why? Okay, look, people want a smart person. The Republicans, I was leading by 75 points. In fact, these last numbers that came in, I was at 91 to like 7. Why would I debate that? Why would I allow Asa Hutchinson, who is a nasty guy, not a good politician, and he was at 0 for over a year, 0. I think he hit one time for about a minute, and then he went back. Or any of the others. Why would I be susceptible? Why would I do that? You want a smart person. Also, why would I go out, say, oh, let's go, let's have some fun, and be shouted at by 12 people that have absolutely no chance of being elected? So I always want to debate the Republican versus the Democrat, no matter what the score is. I wanted to debate last time. I always want to debate the Republican and the Democrat. Those are the two people left. and they should debate. And if there's some independent that's doing well, but by well, I mean, has 15% or something, you should put them. Otherwise, you shouldn't be wasting the airtime. But no, I want to debate. I want to debate Biden. I've actually put out a call, and I said, for the good of the nation, we should debate.
When I covered you in New York decades ago, you would be having fights with Leona Helmsley. You wrote a letter calling her a disgrace to humanity and made its way into the New York Post.
The Queen of Men.
You were fighting with Ed Koch. You called him a moron. Is that your preferred political stance, to have your fists up?
I think it's a natural thing, maybe. It's not my preferred. I'm not looking to go crazy with fights and things, and I'd rather not. But sometimes you have to. I came in, and before they were spying on my campaign, okay, just so you know. I mean, you even now agree. It took a little while for you to get there, but that's okay. They were Biden and Obama and the whole group. They were spying on my campaign. Before I even went, they heard I was going to run. They started spying on my campaign. That was before I came down the escalator with our great first lady.
Yeah.
And
the spying
if you're
accusation, as you know, is very much a subject of dispute.
It is. This is the first time I've heard that in about 2 years.
All right.
They were spying on my campaign and doing lots of other bad things. And you either have to fight or not. Every group, Black, Hispanic, Asian, men, women, people with super diplomas, people with no diplomas from high school even, everybody was doing the best they've ever done. And I was getting calls from liberals, to use an old-fashioned word, or progressives, anything you want to call them. We'll call them whatever they want. But I was getting calls, can we get together? Can we get together? It was coming together. Then COVID came, and we had to fight that battle. And we did a great job with it. But, I got a lot of credit for foreign. We took out ISIS. I had no wars. We're respected by everybody. Viktor Orban said recently that Trump is the reason. If Trump were president, none of this stuff would have happened. They said, what's happened to the world? And he said, if Trump were president, China wouldn't have played games and Russia wouldn't have played games and you wouldn't have had any of the problems you had. And he happens to be right.
Well, obviously, you had your detractors when it came to COVID. Mr. President, the country is obviously bitterly divided. What fundamental thing would you say the media don't understand about your appeal?
Well, there must be an appeal, because you ride down the streets of Florida, the streets of Alabama, and they have Trump signs all over the place. They're looking for hope. They want hope. There's no hope with Biden. He's a deadhead.
But that's not how Democrats view it. That's why
I think the Democrats vote for me a lot more than you think. In fact, I saw where at least 10 or 12% of the Democrats are voting for me. They've never seen a number like that. See, I have a theory. People in Beverly Hills vote for me, but they don't talk about it. A lot of people vote for me. Do you know when the exit polls in 2016, when they came out, everybody said, oh, this is a sad day. This is sad for Trump. He's not going to make it, not going to make it. Everyone say, remember that?
Yeah.
And then I end up winning quite easily. I won Florida. I really ran the whole East Coast. And one person called up, smart guy, said, you're going to win big. Why? Why do you say that? Others are saying on television, on Fox too. They say, it's not looking good. They said, no, you're going to win big because there's a group of people that say, don't ask me that question. It's a much rougher word than that. It's a word that I won't use on television. I will get decimated if I use it. But they tell the person a certain thing. But let's be nice. They say, don't ask me that. Anybody that says essentially, don't ask me that, is a Trump voter. And it was the largest number of don't ask me that voters ever, ever, ever. And he said, every one of those voters is voting for you. And it turned out to be true. So, we ended up winning, and we did much better in 2020. I did millions and millions of votes more in 2020. I did much better. And you can cut this if you want, but the election was rigged. Fox may want to cut that one out, but that's okay.
Well, I would just say it hasn't been proven in court.
Well, it was so rigged. It was so crazy, but we're going to do it again.
Majority of Republicans believe Trump's insistence that the 2020 election was stolen, but there is no independent evidence of widespread fraud. The Obama administration's FBI did open a counterintelligence probe of the Trump campaign in 2016, including the court-approved wiretap of former advisor Carter Page, and looking for signs of Russian influence. The probe, the subject of relentless media coverage, found no evidence of collusion by Trump or his team. But the investigation was opened by career law enforcement officials with no evidence President Obama or Vice President Biden was involved in the decisions. After the break, Donald Trump on the Fani Willis case and on Chuck Schumer calling for the ouster of Bibi Netanyahu.
Okay, folks, if you're just joining us, my name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. I'm joined by my good buddy, Ruben Christopher Haynes. We're doing live stream coverage of Donald Trump's interview with Fox News' Howie Kurtz, and we'll all come back to that in just a few minutes. I'll start this one off. I'm a little surprised, but I shouldn't be, that Kurtz is disputing the spying accusation from 2016. That has been so litigated in the press and so covered by colleagues of his who are contributors of Fox, Molly Hemingway from The Federalist, any number of different individuals. I'm a little surprised. And again, Howard Kurtz is at liberty to say and believe whatever he wants. I get it, but I'm a little surprised he's going there. I do think the question about what is it about the press does not understand about your appeal, I thought was a fabulous question. Because this is something that's been debated now for years, and I'll never forget Selena Zito's great line. Trump supporters take him seriously, but not literally. Trump's detractors take him literally, but not seriously. And I think Trump is absolutely on to one particular point, and that is, if you ask someone after they've come out of the voting booth, hey, did you vote for Trump? They'll be like, hey, don't ask me that question. And they're basically trying to they're saying it without saying it. I mean, I think I know what particular 4-letter word Trump is referring to, but I won't use it either. But I mean, the point's valid. People want to just go and vote. They may not agree with Trump. They may not like his language. They may find him pugilistic, in the words of Fox News, but they will vote for him. And that's because they support the policy more so than the man. And, again, I'm really going to be curious to hear Trump's take on Schumer's speech and Fani Willis. But before I throw it over to Ruben, folks, if you're not subscribed to our channels, please do so. Give Ruben a subscription on his YouTube channel. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Rumble. Please give me a subscription there. Ruben, I'll throw it over to you.
So then regarding the debating, the idea that he did not debate anybody, again, why would the number one person debate these lesser known people? It's just like, you don't get it, doesn't work. And it paid off because, again, what happened? Rhonda McRomney is gone. And you have Laura Trump and Scott Pruster now running the RNC. Because so then he won by default. And then you had the spying. Again, it was proven Obama did spy on Trump, period. Regarding Viktor Orban, the leader, I think it was I don't know, was it Poland? But I don't know. They say, yeah, Hungary. Things were better. Things were better under Trump. And people, if you look at the European press, they are saying this, that we were better off under Trump. Foreign leaders are saying this. And again, it comes to the irony is now that in 2024, the hope candidate is Trump and not just like Obama. It's a grassroots aspect. The Obama rise phenomenon was manufactured by the press. The Trump phenomenon is manufactured by regular people who are saying, I've had enough. And again, the whole idea that 2020 was rigged, it wasn't investigated. That's the whole idea. Just like Howard Kurtz got it wrong, because again, just like the spying of Obama, the 2020 was rigged, and I stand with it. And it will be proven.
They're back in, folks. We're going to step off to the side. So give us just a second here. We'll get this party started. Whoop.
For Nathan Wade would have to resign, which he did Friday. Hours earlier, I asked the former president about these legal cases.
Mr. President, you went to court in Florida where you were trying to get the classified documents case thrown out. It was covered all day long on cable. As it turns out, Judge Cannon turned down one of the two arguments you made in order to get cases thrown out. That's a hard thing to do. But are these 4 criminal cases now part of your campaign?
Well, they seem to have taken on a life of their own in terms of the populace, in terms of the American people. They know they're rigged. They know they're all Biden cases. These aren't cases. These are Biden indictments. This is using the Justice Department to go after your political opponent.
But you don't have any proof that Joe Biden personally told Merrick Garland to do that.
Oh, sure you do. Look, the Manhattan DA has a man named Colangelo in there. He was Merrick Garland's top person. They put him into the Manhattan DA's office. Fani Willis and her lover spent a lot of time in Washington talking about my case. I came out during the hearings talking about my case. The AG of New York, Letitia James, deals with Washington all the time. No, even the local cases, like a DA case, it's all trying to hurt an opponent. And why didn't they do this years ago? They should have done this years ago. This is all stuff that was essentially started very, very late because they wanted to interfere with the election. No, this is 100%. Look, Biden hasn't done a thing. He's a horrible president, and he figures this is maybe the way that they can get in. But this is an attack on a political opponent, and this is what banana republics do. This is what third world nations do. We don't do it in this country, and people see that. And as you know, I have my highest numbers that I've ever had. Now, usually it doesn't work out that way, stuff like this, but I have a voice where I can explain it to people. I can explain how rigged this whole thing is. And as you know, I've been doing very well on these cases.
In the hush money case brought by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, their side has now asked for a 30-day delay. The trial was supposed to start in a little over.
Well, they had to because they didn't give the documents to us.
Give you time to review.
They
records.
didn't want to do that, but they had to. And frankly, that whole case should be thrown out because it's a ridiculous case. And every legal pundit says that is the most ridiculous case.
Many portions of the media say that your whole approach to all of these cases is simply delay, appeal, and get them pushed back past the election, which if you win, you can make the cases vanish.
Well, look, we have very good cases. They put together some garbage. They indicted me on garbage, and the people know that. The people of our country, that's why 82% of them think it's political. It's all political, and more than just the what's coming out of Washington, the local DA stuff, the Fannie Willis. She spent with Wade, I call her Fannie Wade, she spent with Wade, her lover boyfriend, days in the White House and in the Justice Department talking about my case. This is not supposed to be happening. Now, that case is imploding. She should never be allowed anywhere near a case, in my opinion.
Some of the charges have been thrown out.
Well, yeah, 10 charges have been thrown out. A lot of them have been thrown out. It's a fake case. It's a whole fake case. They're all fake cases. And the public sees it. Now, if the public thought they were real, I wouldn't be winning against Biden in every poll. But I'm lucky that I have a voice. I can do a show like yours. I can do a show like a lot of other shows. Any show wants me on because I get good ratings. What can I tell you? But I can go on shows and I can explain the cases, and then the people can decide. But it's politics. But it's politics at a very low level. We've never done it, Howie. We've never done it in this country where a president, it's very easy to do. And he's opening up a big floodgate. Because does that allow the next president to do that to his opponent?
You've raised that question on presidential
It's
immunity.
a very dangerous thing. Very dangerous thing.
Chuck Schumer really went after Bibi Netanyahu on the Senate floor, saying that Israel should hold new elections and making perfectly clear he thinks that the prime minister should be replaced, though he doesn't use those exact words. Does that sound to you like the U.S. telling its sovereign ally how to run its government?
Well, 100%. There's no question about it. And they don't know where to go. They're very bad for Israel. The Democrats are very bad for Israel. Israel sticks with them. I guess Israel's loyal, maybe to a fault, because they stick with these guys. Biden is so bad for Israel. They should have never been attacked. If Biden were good to Israel, they wouldn't have been attacked.
President Biden has been a strong supporter of Israel because of the terrorist attacks.
If he were
by
a supporter of Israel, the Iran nuclear deal would have never been signed, and Israel would have never been attacked, Howie.
Well, Schumer is, of course, the top Jewish Democrat in Washington, and he says that Netanyahu is too willing to tolerate the civilian toll in Gaza, and that he's more concerned with his own political survival, and that could make Israel a pariah. Your reaction to
they lost a lot of people on October 7th, too. People have to remember that.
People should never
They've
forget
totally, I think maybe he's forgotten it. He doesn't forget it. He looks at where do I get more votes? And I guess he's seeing, the Palestinians, and he's seeing the marches, and they are big. And he says, I want to go that way instead of Israel. I don't know how Israel stays with these people. I just don't know. But he obviously said, I see a lot of people protesting out there, and they happen to be Palestinians or wherever from the Middle East. And he was probably shocked to see it. And all of a sudden, he dumped Israel. That's what he's doing. He dumped Israel.
Well, he's not walking away. But what would be in light of...
but wouldn't you say he is walking away? I mean, he just said, essentially, that Bibi Netanyahu should take a walk.
Right. And in light of those comments by Senator Schumer, what would be your message if you were to talk to Bibi Netanyahu?
Well, I think you have to finish it up and do it quickly and get back to the world of peace. We need peace in the world. That would be one of the two things I do very quickly. I would settle with Ukraine and Russia. I will get them to settle that war very quickly, even before I become president. As a president-elect, it'll give me the power that you need to get it settled. As president-elect, I want to do it before taking office, if that's possible, and I think it is. And the other one is you have to have peace in the Middle East. We were close to it. Don't forget, I did the Abraham Accords.
I'm well aware.
I'll bet you I would have had Iran in the Abraham Accords. And that's a big statement, but I would have had them all in. They took the Abraham Accords, which are phenomenal. Anybody else would have gotten a Nobel Prize. If Obama did, or Biden did, or anybody on the other side did the Abraham Accords, they would have had 15 Nobel Prizes. Okay, I get nothing. But I had 4 great, hardline countries signed up. Respected countries.
Well, Biden has said Netanyahu's aggressive assault in densely populated southern Gaza is hurting Israel. The prime minister has rejected U.S. demands for greater restraint in battling Hamas. Netanyahu today praised both Trump and Biden on Fox and Friends, but called Senator Schumer's comments inappropriate. Still to come, Donald Trump, Jimmy Kimmel going at it during the Oscars.
Okay, folks, we're going to throw it back to the commentators as the interviewer has now gone to a commercial. My name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. I'm joined by my good buddy, Ruben Christopher Haynes. Ruben, your thoughts on what you heard?
So then regarding Fani Willis, Biden is orchestrating everything because, again, Trump is right that all of the prosecutors in New York, Georgia are colluding with Biden, going to D.C., talking with the Biden administration on going after Trump. So he's 100% correct. And again, you have to remember that Trump got more votes in 2020 than he did in 2016, and he should have won. And again, it proves that the rig was there. It's all political. When it comes to Israel, you have to remember Trump's legacy with his administration in Israel was moving the embassy to Jerusalem, making Jerusalem the center of what's going on here. And again, Schumer is wrong because he's really screwed everything up in regards to what's going on with what's going on. And then the whole idea that the only thing that Trump said that he could get him in trouble per se with the Clippers are the fact that he said finish up, Netanyahu should finish it up, and we want peace. But again, finishing up, I mean, they'll take him out of context, of course. But again, it's true that as as president-elect, he should get peace and get Russia, Ukraine, and Iran, and get the Abraham Accords back on track. Show people, tout that as a talking point, because again, it's about peace in the Middle East, peace in America, and peace around the world.
Yeah, I was struck by a couple of things in that segment. Going back to the Schumer Netanyahu comment, the one line that's in there that, and you're right, the Clippers are going to have a field day with this interview on certain things like Facebook is controlled by China, etc. But the one line in that exchange about Schumer and Netanyahu, quote, if Biden were an ally of Israel, the Iranian nuclear deal never would have gone through. And, say what you want to about Trump, but that point's valid. Now, you can make arguments round the horn all the way about foreign policy, but, Trump's point, I think, is valid in that Iran's got more leverage in the Middle East right now because of the way that the Biden administration is handling them on certain issues. Going back to the question about, the court cases, I think Howard Kurtz asked a very fair question. Are these cases a part of your campaign? And are you trying to delay this, all these cases till after the election? Well, look, I don't think it's beyond question now that the cases are part of the campaign. In this respect, and I think Trump brings up a very valid point, and that is people are looking at these cases, and if they thought they were legitimate, I wouldn't be up. Okay, they're back in. Here we go.
Viewers had something to say about that.
What is up with you and Jimmy Kimmel?
Okay, now, see if you can guess which former president just posted that on Truth. Anyone? No? Well, thank you, President Trump.
Because during the Academy Awards, you posted, has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? Less than an average person trying too hard. And he then read that on the air and then took a crack at you. You getting even with him?
And what
for
else
all-
did I say? I said some other pretty good things.
What were you getting even with him
George
for all his anti-Trump
Slobodopoulos.
jokes?
George Slobodopoulos. Right? No, look, Jimmy Kimmel is every night, he hits me, I guess. His ratings are terrible. He's not a talented guy. I hear he hits me all the time. So I figured I'd hit him because I thought he was a lousy host. Now, I put it out on Truth, which is on fire, by the way. Truth Social is doing great. I never expected he was going to be reading it. Just prior to the movie of the year, which is the big one, right? That's the big one. I think they get the man, the woman, now the movie of the year. He reads my Truth on air. He reads exactly what you read. And now the big story is that they all begged him not to do it, don't do it.
Right.
He probably stupidly, he had to act in a short period of time, like minutes, right? He had minutes because he's on air. He sees this thing and he wants to go out there and he wants to, I guess, confront me and so. And he ends up reading my Truth. I said, this guy's even dumber than I thought. The thing went viral. It's been all over the world now. And all he had to do is keep his mouth shut.
Donald Trump, thanks very much for sitting down with us here
Thank
at
you.
Mar-a-Lago.
Thank you very much.
Huge headlines about Trump saying at an Ohio rally last night that if he loses, there will be a bloodbath. But if you watch it, as I just did, he's talking about Chinese car sales hurting American jobs right before and right after. Much of the media is just wrenching this out of context. The former president told me he did the interview because he finds this program to be fair. And by the way, I'm again offering the Biden campaign a chance to appear as well. I don't wear anyone's jersey, but I get that many see fairness as obsolete, old-fashioned in this era of toxic divisiveness. I know some partisans will say the interview was too soft because I didn't go after Donald Trump with a baseball bat. Other partisans will say the interview was too hostile and I must be suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. That's life. To me, it's journalism. At times, you don't make either side happy with journalism. That includes the Biden campaign at times. You've all seen evidence of that. I'm fair game for criticism like everybody else. But our audience understands what it is that we try to do here each week. Hey, you can subscribe to my daily podcast, Media Buzz Meter. Join the club as I riff on the day's top 5 stories. That is it for this edition of Media Buzz, a rather unusual edition. We'll put all of this online so people can watch, particularly if you missed all or part of it. That's how a lot of people get their news today. And it's time for me to say that we hope to see you next Sunday, same time, same place, with the only media analysis show on national television.
And
He's
that,
not wrong.
ladies, do what?
He's not wrong.
About what?
Media analysis. Again, I haven't seen him in a very long time,
True.
but what he did was bravo, a real journalist doing journalism.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I mean, everybody knows I'm supporting Trump in this election, and everybody knows by and large I'm conservative on most, if not any, issues here. Okay. That said, I don't think that's probably one of the most even-handed interviews I've seen done in a hell of a long time. I don't care if it's Trump. I don't care if it's Biden. I don't care who it is. Howie Kurtz went after him, but did so respectfully. And I don't even necessarily begrudge the press, how they go after an opponent, so long as you do it with fairness. And from my perspective, Howie Kurtz did just that. He was fair about the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So if you're just joining us for the wrap up, my name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. This is my good buddy Ruben Christopher Haynes. We have been covering live stream in real time the interview of Howard Kurtz of former President Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Ruben, I'll throw it over to you for some final thoughts.
So then, going with what he said, yeah, Trump is right. And again, here's the idea. The media touted his Kimmel response as Trump being petty. No, Trump was trolling Kimmel, and he said it there. He said it plain as day to Howard Kurtz. He fell for it like an idiot.
Yeah.
And again, Trump is living rent free in Kimmel's head, and he's going to use it. And again, what does it do? It brings more eyeballs to the idea that you have these Democrats and leftists who have TDS. They're going to get apoplectic. Let them explode on TV. They're already doing it. MSNBC, CNN. You see them saying these things. So they're going to dig their own grave. They're doing it right now because again, The CNN ratings are the toilet. Remember after Caitlin Collins' interview with Trump happened, they basically pulled her off, and the Don Lemon's exploding. CNN's going to get very bad ratings. They're doing it to themselves, and it's really bad. And the last thing was, and I'm very, really happy that Howard Kurtz ended with the whole bloodbath issue that was taken out of context. Because again, everyone is taking out of context. Everyone is pushing it. And again, he just proved his point, or the point that Trump's making, that the media is being disingenuous. And I'm very happy to be here. And it was a very good interview. And I'm glad that you invited me here. Thank you very much.
No, you're very welcome. Yeah, I mean, I want to go back to something in the interview because I'm a little surprised that Trump gave away the secret sauce. And here's what I'm getting at. Howie Kurtz asked him at one point, hey, this language that you use, this over-the-top language, some would call it pugilistic, is that your way of driving the debate and getting the media to talk about the issues that you want? And Trump said, very surprisingly, yes, and more. Trump knows, it's like you just said, Ruben, he knows exactly what he's doing when he drops these comments. Now, don't get me wrong. There's moments, like with any human being, Trump says something that's just boneheadedly stupid, okay? That's everybody. You, that's me, that's, whoever. But by and large, when it comes to working the media, Trump is masterful at it. He can be absolutely a virtuoso. One little word, and the Kimmel thing is proof of that. Here's Trump sitting at Mar-a-Lago. He's watching the Oscars. He drops this thing on Truth Social, and Kimmel just can't help himself. He takes the bait. And, it's just, I'm not surprised. Overall, again, I say it before and I'll say it again. Howard Kurtz does an absolutely fantastic interview. Absolutely fantastic. And from my perspective, he didn't back off of Trump one little bit.
Kurtz should actually do the debate with Biden.
Yeah, I agree with you. And here's the thing. I dare Biden and the White House to let Joe Biden sit in front of Howard Kurtz and let Howard Kurtz do to him what he did to Donald Trump for an hour. There's no way it's going to happen.
He won't do it.
No way it's going to happen. Let's get some of the chat in here, and I apologize to you guys for not working in your comments. Let's see. Gypsy says Dems believe when they say what says. Yeah, exactly. Agreed. Dave is TikTok is the manic trick. Look here, instead of look at China buying up land and having police state within our country. True. Thousands of truthers using TikTok for truth bites and those bites. Yeah, exactly. This is why I don't want TikTok banned. And I don't like the idea of giving any president, be it Biden, Trump, I don't care who it is. I don't want to give them any power over social media beyond the absolute bare minimum, if anything at all. And I agree with you on this one. Invokes the spy allegation. Oh, my God. I can't believe they put that in the cryon. Well, yeah, I can. It's Fox News. What do I expect?
Yeah, exactly.
See what else we got here. Yeah, we will see how Trump behaves. No, it's down to this. You've got a record, Mr. Biden. Trump's got a record. Let's get the two of you on stage and just get it on,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely true. Let's see what else we got here for comments. Yeah, thanks for the footnote, Howard. Now, I will give Howard this. Every commercial break, Trump said this, but here's what I was like, oh, come on, Howard. Let standard fall on its own, dude. Seriously. That was a little annoying from my perspective. Yeah. Let's see. Blue Sky says, yeah, true. Absolutely true. Yeah, and I'm sure Viva was going off on the blood.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I didn't see it, but I have no doubt about that. What else have we got here? Thank you very much. We appreciate that very much. And again, Ruben, we're becoming fashion plates. We're just.
Oh, that's good. Well, and this is by accident. I just put the shirt on, and then you go, "Oh yeah, it is St. Patrick's Day." I'm just glad I had it.
styling and profiling like a little
I know.
got a little Ric Flair action going on there.
But yeah, I actually was writing my notes down here as it's going on, and it was very, very good. It was very, very good interview. So it was very, very good.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. And thanks to all of you who've been here today. So again, if you're not subscribed to Ruben's channel, please give him a sub. Subscribe to my channels on YouTube and Rumble. I'd really appreciate it. Ruben, what have you got coming up next week?
Well, I have more videos coming out because again, I had an unfortunate ban for the last few weeks on YouTube, so I stopped making videos. So then I've been posting the videos I was making out now. They're out there on my channel. On you find them on Rumble, YouTube, and then I'm going to do Instagram and X more. So what I'll be doing is starting today, going to be doing more videos because I had to get some qualification completed for YouTube again. But I'm going to be posting the majority of my videos will be on Rumble. And then hopefully I'll be returning back to X and I'm going to get that verified there too, a verification there. So I have my weight loss channel. I need to lose 140 more pounds to get to the man I want to be. I want to be married by next year. And I want to start a new life somewhere in the world where I can just be happy with my life. And then on Rumble, I'm going to have my political commentary, my commentary on what's really going on here. Because again, like Trump, I'll go there. That's why I got banned on Twitter back 2020. So follow me on Rumble specifically I'll talk about the election. I'll talk about the vaccine. I'll talk about everything there. I won't say it here, but again, things that'll get you banned and on Rumble. On YouTube and Facebook. I'm talking about it on Rumble. So follow me there. Follow me on X. I've just been going through cleaning everything up and preparing for this because more is coming. Because again, we're just the beginning. We're only in March. And about all the stuff that's happened so far in the last 3 months, your bingo card is going to get filled up with the craziness is going on here. So be ready for that. Follow me everywhere. And again, I use my real name for one reason and one reason only is I'm not afraid of anything going on here. I want you to follow me. You Google my name, I pop up because that's what we have to do. If I'm no longer, it's like that. I'm mad as hell. I'm not taking it anymore. That stance.
Yep.
Because we have to do this. We have to stand up as an American citizen, as a proud American. We got to do it now.
Absolutely. And I want to say an apology to Rumble Condor over on Rumble. You've been dropping comments. Unfortunately, I did not see them. So my apologies to you. But we're glad to have you here. And thanks for stopping by. Genuinely, it's, again, my apologies. I did not see your comments. So that's on me totally. But yeah, glad to have you here. And okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, we're not trying to ignore you. I'm trying to split screens and I just did not see it. So that's my bad and on me.
And we were both going to work on the aspect of, getting so that we can view, because I know some YouTube commenters are already doing it and podcasters are already doing it where they can see both their X comments, their Rumble comments, and their YouTube comments at the same time. Right now, YouTube is the big boy. Rumble's picking up. But again, we're going to start working on that to get that out there so you can see all the content.
Absolutely. So yeah, thank you guys for stopping by with us this Sunday morning. Appreciate it. Again, if you're not subscribed to Ruben's channel, please give him a sub. If you're not subscribed to me on YouTube and Rumble, please give me a sub as well. Thank you so very much for being here. I will be back this week with more videos and live streams. I have an interview with comedian Chrissy Mayer this Wednesday at 5:30. So please be here for that. In the meanwhile, you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Great St. Patty's Day. Thank you ever so much for being here, and we'll catch up with you guys soon. Talk to you later.